What's going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I had a whole day to sit and think about this movie and really solidify my thoughts. And I want to talk a lot about what people are talking about online, because now that the dust is starting to settle on this movie and collectively a lot of people are sharing their opinions online, I'm seeing people talk about certain things, and I wanted to talk about those particular points. Not necessarily a traditional review, just my thoughts on what people are saying, as well as giving obviously my own thoughts as well. But first of all, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. We all really appreciate you, and I'm about to go celebrate Mother's Day after this, which is why I'm kind of doing this right here in the room while the girlfriend's getting ready. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So, spoilers ahead, just in case you haven't seen the movie already. I do suggest you see it, because again, spoilers ahead, it was a super wild ride. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think more so than a lot of the people I went to go see it with. Had my brother next to me and my girlfriend, and then I had a bunch of cousins who saw it as well. I think I enjoyed it more so than any of them. You know, there was kind of a mixed reaction within my group of people that I watched it with, especially my brother. He really did not like the movie so much, but I loved the movie. Now, like I said, it feels like a wild ride from the moment the movie starts to the very end. It is one of the most unique and I will call it an experience. It was one of the most unique and wild experiences in an MCU movie. That's the best way I could describe it. I think Sam Raimi does an excellent job in this movie, and it's a shame that he mentioned in recent interviews that there are like 45 minutes of this movie that have been cut out. So going into this movie, a lot of the cameos, which I'll be talking about in a bit, a lot of the cameos already got spoiled for me. So the fact that I enjoyed it as much as I did was really quite surprising to me, myself, because I knew a lot of the movie, or I had heard a lot about the movie going into it. I covered it, of course, if you guys have been following the channel. But yeah, I gotta say, everything, Doctor Strange, obviously Benedict Cumberbatch's performance was excellent as Doctor Strange. I forget Wong's, the actor Wong. He does great as well. Some weird choices in the movie that were kind of strange, but ultimately, I wasn't trying to nitpick at any parts. I really just sat there not knowing what to expect, hoping that it would surprise me, and it did. Of course, one of the standouts was Wanda from the movie, so the Scarlet Witch herself. She was incredible. Elizabeth Olsen killed it. This really allowed her to showcase what she could do as an actress, more so than any other movie, because, you know, my thoughts on her as an actress playing this part in other movies seemed a little bit wooden. It never really sold me on the character. This movie really let me see her as a character, more so, even more so than in WandaVision. Like, here's where you could really see her talent kind of shine, because she got to play different, obviously, Multiverse of Madness, you got to see different types of Wandas in there, and as a villain, she was incredible and menacing. And we'll talk more about what she did in this gruesome, a lot of people want to call it R-rated. I wouldn't call it quite R-rated or anything like that, but it was a little more visceral and violent than I thought it would be, especially when it comes to the Illuminati. And spoiler alert, again, you shouldn't be watching this if you haven't seen the movie. It was gruesome what she did to the Illuminati. So before I get into some of the details people are talking about, I did think, as MCU movie, in terms of that, comedy was great. Rachel McAdams was also great. It was really cool to see still the effects of the snap being talked about, with Doctor Strange missing his opportunity to be happy with Rachel. And that was one of the themes that kind of carried on through this movie, questioning your happiness. And I thought that was a great thing to close on. And this movie really closed that chapter, it feels like, because at the end of the movie, you know, you get Clea coming in the post-credit scene, and we're going to get a whole new chapter of Stephen Strange going forward. So I really like that. That this movie didn't. Some people have talked about how this movie feels like it's stale. It didn't really move. It didn't really move the needle in terms of MCU storytelling, but I happen to disagree. I think the MCU is doing a really great job in just spending time to flesh out all the little details before they go full steam ahead onto probably the Secret Wars storyline and bringing Kang in. And I really like the fact that if you do watch the TV shows, which you don't need to understand the stories, but if you do, it kind of rewards you in that way. So really enjoy that. Now let's get on to So the movie, the movie's Rotten Tomatoes score, I'm starting to find out that we'll talk a little bit more about the reviews a little bit later, but the Rotten Tomatoes score at this point is standing at 89%. The audience score is at 85%. So this is it's been moving up and down throughout the weekend. At one point I saw it in the 70s, but now it's at 89%. Audience score is 85. So one of the more low, I think it has a B plus cinema score. So one of the lower Marvel movies, because, the MCU generally hits hard with the critics, or it hits a home run with the critics, I should say. But this movie had some really mixed reviews, and I guess I tend to like the movies that people don't like as much, and maybe it's because the formula, now that we're at this stage in the MCU, the formula feels like it's a little bit different. They're taking a lot more chances, and that's what I really like to see out of these movies. And I really love the fact they brought Sam Raimi in to really, I know he was kind of a later replacement, but I thought Sam Raimi did an incredible job, and he really interjected his own style into this movie. Of course, with a horror background, you saw a lot of the horror elements in this movie. I wouldn't quite call it a horror movie like people are saying, but there are definitely tons of horror elements, and I thought it was great. The cinematography of the movie was excellent. The movie the sound design was great, and the score was great too, from the obviously legendary Danny Elfman, who's been getting a lot of criticism from DC fans because of the fact that he was involved in the 2017 Justice League movie. And he also made some comments that rubbed people the wrong way in terms of the Batman theme, saying that there's only really one Batman theme, and that's his. Since then, a lot of people have been really finding out and kind of digging deep into his library of themes and seeing that he reuses some themes a lot. For example, if you follow us on Twitter, I reposted a few times the fact that there's a theme in this Doctor Strange movie that he used for the Flash in the tunnel fight sequence in 2017's Justice League, and he also used that theme when he wrote the music for Hulk in 2003. It's literally the same theme, but I was talking about it a lot. I actually think it's a great little piece of work, and it's not used for too much of the movie. So a lot of people going into this movie were kind of bashing on Danny Elfman, and I gotta say, you do hear it, especially if you're someone who really enjoys the music and really pays attention to the music in a movie. You do hear that theme from, especially if you're a big superhero fan, you heard that theme from 2017 Flash, and then the keen listeners really heard that from 2003's Hulk as well. So I don't think it was a big deal. This maybe is kind of a signature of his. Maybe he puts it into every superhero movie he's going to be doing from now on. Maybe it's like a little Easter egg you can find. But anyways, the music of the movie was amazing. So it was really quite an experience. America Chavez, the new character, I thought she did a great job. I think she's only like 16 years old, so she really did a great job as an actor. Wanda's kids, they were kids, not the greatest acting, but there were obviously a lot of places you can nitpick with this movie, but if you're not someone who was trying to nitpick and trying to find things you didn't like, I think you will absolutely love this movie. There's a lot of talk about this movie undoing Wanda's arc from WandaVision, and to an extent, I guess you could say that happened, but I also think that this movie leaves a lot of room for Elizabeth Olsen to return and have a real redemption arc later on, because by the end of the movie, you see her. I really thought it was a great way to defeat her. You didn't really defeat her, but you made her realize the wrongs that she's doing. America Chavez punches a hole through time so the kids could see Wanda for what she's become. And in reality, you don't really defeat her, but she realizes what she's doing, and she kind of defeats herself in a way. I don't think she's dead. She destroys the Darkhold in all realities, and you see this flash of red light. So I don't think she's actually dead. We're going to see a great redemption arc, and obviously Vision had nothing to do with this movie. We're going to see him in a future possible Disney Plus series. I hope we finish this in a movie more so than a series. WandaVision was okay. I'd really like to see a movie play out, because these cinematic experiences are much more satisfying to me than what we get out of the Disney Plus shows right now. The Disney Plus shows, some of them I really enjoyed, but they never really hit the nail on the mark at the end, and they feel a little bit hollow at times because of how short they are. So I do hope we see her return in a movie. So Wanda, though, as a whole in this movie was incredible. Now let's talk about the cameos for a second. The cameos were something I really had fun with, and all the cameo talk that I had mentioned in my previous video to this were actually pretty spot on. So we got Black Bolt from the Inhuman show return, and it was really cool to see his powers play out. You know, and we had Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel. We had Captain Carter come back as the different version of Captain America in a different universe. We had the big one, John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, which was super cool. A lot of people criticizing him for having maybe not really the best performance. It's kind of boggling me a little bit because he had so little to do in the movie that I don't think you can criticize his work. Well, maybe you can, but I wouldn't criticize his work for the very short amount of time he had in the movie. Who else did we have? We had, of course, Mordo, which I really enjoy that actor, and then Patrick Stewart as the big return, and you really get that hint of the '90s X-Men theme in there. I thought that was the chef's kiss right there for his return. So the big thing with the cameos, did they live up to the hype? I think they were great. You know, this movie is not supposed to be about the cameos. They're supposed to be an extra icing on the cake for the movie. So I never really went in there to nitpick. A lot of people are having issues with the fact that Wanda tore through them so easily and so fast. And to an extent, I do agree with it, but at the same time, I understand that they were trying to tell this story while really focusing on Doctor Strange and Wanda and her powers. So seeing these characters come in and so easily dismantled by Wanda, I could see how some people would really get irritated by that. It didn't irritate me because, like I said, I went into this movie not expecting anything really. A lot of people were mad that Tom Cruise or Deadpool wasn't in there, and it really didn't bother me, to be honest. I think it was great to see them in action, though. Yeah, you could really say Captain Marvel was severely underpowered, and how did a rock falling on top of her really kill her when she seems to be made of stone in this alternate reality, or in our reality when Thanos was bashing his head into her and she was pretty much like Superman. It was gruesome, is what I will say. They were gruesome deaths, and they were pretty glorious, and I was really surprised that they they let heads explode, people get cut in half. It was pretty crazy for a Marvel movie, which I guess says a lot. But anyways, I thought the cameos were great, and I enjoyed them thoroughly. I didn't have any expectations for what to see, and I hope we get to see more of them, because John Krasinski is rumored to potentially direct Fantastic Four, and I do hope he returns. I do think it's a great way to promote that movie. John Watts stepped down as director, so hopefully John Krasinski gets another shot at it, even though I know a lot of people had some issues with the way they were portrayed. I thought it was super cool. This one is really one of the more divisive MCU films that I've seen, so I want to kick it to you. What did you guys think of the movie? What are your favorite parts? What are some things that bothered you? And ultimately, out of 10, what would you give this as a score? I think if I had to score it, I would give it an 8. 8 out of 10, solid. I absolutely loved it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like this video if you can, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.